Well, there's been a shift in the rhetoric by President Zelensky over the past few days, and it's been echoed by NATO in the sense that they now not talking about um, victory or prevailing in the campaign. They're talking about putting Ukraine in the strongest possible position in terms of negotiations. And so has been a shift. Everyone now is expecting uh, President Trump to kickstart negotiations. But the problem is no one knows what form these negotiations will take. So it could be possible that the Russians will continue fighting until negotiations materialize, and therefore Ukraine has to be in a position to fight back.
Okay, so Ukraine's foreign minister during the meeting as well talked about, extending a membership invitation from NATO. However, there hasn't been a very clear consensus during this meeting about, extending an invitation. What are the major obstacles stopping NATO members from, extending an invitation to Ukraine, and how long do you think that they may, try to prolong or delay the NATO decision to have them in as members of the Ukraine, of NATO rather?
Well, what NATO is talking about is the bridge to membership. How can uh, NATO make Ukraine fit for membership in terms of fulfilling certain conditions like democratic accountability for the military, the reorganization of military forces, and so on. And so they're talking about a bridge to membership. NATO has promised Ukraine membership since 2008. But personally, this has been, they've been kicking the ball forward without actually scoring a goal. It's the decision to accept Ukraine as a member will be very, very difficult.
Okay, with President-elect Donald Trump about to return to office, how do you think his policies will influence NATO's support for Ukraine, especially in light of the ministerial discussions that took place today about military aid and over the membership discussions as well? How do you think this presidency will affect this?
Well, one of the hidden dimensions of this meeting, and that it'll be talked about in the margins and also in confidential sessions, is how does NATO make itself Trump-proof in terms of withstanding pressures to end the war in Ukraine on Ukrainian bad terms. And so what they're talking about is how can NATO continue the support to Ukraine, particularly on equipment, training, and so on, even if President Trump says, well, I'm going to stop it from the United States perspective. And the NATO has put in place mechanisms for supporting Ukraine, even if President Trump stops it, because the Germans, the British, the French, and so on, the Poles, are all continuing to support Ukraine.